So first person addiction has impacted my life. I lived as an active addict from age 14 to 32. I can recognize that I had the ism going back to 5, 6 years old, just being uncomfortable in my own skin and wanting to feel different and wanting desperately to feel part of. But at 14, I tore a knee up and was prescribed oxycodone. And that prescription never ran out. And I figured out early on that if I took, maybe 1 or 2 more than I should, the phone was a little bit easier to pick up and call her or call my boys, and I, felt a little bit cooler. And then I figured out that if maybe I got one of my dad's beers and took a couple of those, that, hey, now I'm real brave. Now I really like how I smile. Now I really like, that I feel a little bit taller. I felt like Superman, and I felt like I belonged, right? And it was that warm, fuzzy feeling of comfort and ease that a book I read talks about, right? And I wanted that feeling to be my day every day. That took me to, from 14, 15, that took me to, I guess the first real low was finding what would become my master. I found cocaine at age 19. And the only question I wanted answered after that first hit of cocaine off of a CD case, to date myself, the only question I wanted answered after that was, how do I get more of this? The very bottom for me was on April the 29th, 2010, for anybody around Nashville, that was flood week. I ran a bar down on Broadway, and this nice man and lady were just having a Coke and a smile. And part of my duties was to also sell drugs. And so I'm running my bar, I'm doing, making martinis and making a sale over here. And then this nice man and lady out of nowhere said, "Metro detectives, put your hands in the air." And I look around like, who's getting arrested? And then it was me on my back. And I see their faces, and then this third face comes, and I recognize him. He'd been in there for weeks. "We've been listening to you, we've been watching you." And man, my life was over. That was April 29th, 2010. That was the last day that I used. Knock on wood. My life today in recovery, if I'd have wrote down my sweetest dreams on April the 29th, 2010, for what my life could look like on today's date, I wouldn't believe it. My best dreams, sitting in jail, looking at 20 years, my best dreams were to get out and hopefully my parents would still be alive so that I could apologize for what I'd done to them. I hope that my nephew would remember me. He's kind of my baby bro. I hope that maybe I could get a couple of fast food jobs and a scooter and maybe get like a garage apartment because I wouldn't have any credit. I was 32 at the time, and I'm looking at getting out at 52. My friends would have already, they've already had all their own families and moved on. Like I was resigned at that point to either get sober or I was gonna die somehow in prison. Community. The one thing that I looked for in every bag of blow, every bottle of Crown, every beer, was that I just wanted to belong. And when I finally fully committed to the steps and finally committed to being in a community of men and not using 12-step rooms as a dating service, when I got to know men and went to men-only meetings and got raw and got real and got some clinical support, that's all I ever wanted from everything, every substance I ever put in my body, that feeling of connection with another human being. That's it. That's the magic, man.